Hey guys, Ed Views here with the new haircut. Honestly, not too big of a fan of this one. Sides look alright, but from the front, not a big fan of it. But hopefully it'll change once I style it. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about in this video. In this video, we're talking about Red Dead Redemption. Oh my God, this game was something, man. Let me just start by saying, I'm gonna say there's a lot of flaws with this game. And I'm probably gonna say something. Let me turn my refrigerator off real quick, my mini fridge. It's gonna be really loud. I might say some bad stuff about this game, but I fully recommend this. I recommend trying it out. But I will say another thing. I played the second game already. So my expectations were really high for this game. Like, my expectations were extremely high for this game. So I think that might have messed with my experience a little bit. Yeah, in a few ways, because like I'll get to that later. But yeah, it's small to say that now. My expectations were extremely high, and the game did meet them for sure, but didn't really surpass them like how I kind of hoped, you know. But I definitely recommend this game. Check it out. Really good game. Okay, where to begin? Let's start with let's just start. I'm just thinking of a brief, just summary of like the plot of the story. The story is, you play as John Marston, this cowboy, and his family. His family is kidnapped by the government, and there's no spoilers, by the way, no spoilers at all. I think I will, at the end of the video, have a little like minute or two where I talk about some spoilers, talk about like the ending and stuff, because I kind of got to talk about that. It was something, the ending, you know. I got to talk about it. I got to talk about some other stuff, but I'll definitely give you a warning before I say any spoilers, and it will be at the very end. So don't worry about that. But so, basic plot of the game. Your family, you're John Marston, and your family gets kidnapped. Your wife and son, they get kidnapped by the government. You don't really know where they're taken or like where they are. But you will get them back, and they will be nice and safely returned to you if you kill a few members of your former gang that John Marston used to be a part of. And of course, if you know Red Dead Redemption 2, this is the gang in Red Dead Redemption 2 that the main character Arthur Morgan is a part of. I don't know if I like my hair. Damn, I don't. Big ass forehead. Okay, anyway. Yeah, this is the gang is the main gang in Red Dead Redemption 2. So I kind of like already knew about the gang and stuff, you know. But I feel like you would enjoy the story more if you didn't know any of that, you know. I think that you would enjoy both games more if you played them in order. So I'm kind of a little upset at myself that I didn't do that, but it's all right, you know. I mean, I played it like 4 years ago, so it was a while ago. Anyway, yeah, definitely played them in order. Also, like, you know, the graphics and stuff, it makes sense to just play them in order. But yeah, so that's the main story, and you're just trying to find the members of your gang, your former gang, so you can kill them and make the government happy, so they return your family to you. And that's just like the main story. And you get taken to pretty much the middle of nowhere, just a desert, pretty much like right above Mexico. You can actually go to Mexico. Half the map is separated in half by a river. The bottom half is Mexico. The top half is, I don't know, I guess New Mexico. It's called New Austin, so I'd assume New Mexico is what it is based off of. But pretty much the map, that's another thing I want to talk about. The map, I do not like the map in this game. It is just a barren, lifeless desert and nothing else. And I feel like it kind of is fitting for the game, but I feel like they could have sprinkled a little more in, you know? There's just a lot of this barren, this empty, I mean, I can't say fields, like this desert area, you know? Like, I don't know what the word is exactly. It's openness, vastness, you know? With just cactuses and stuff, like, you know? There's a lot of that, a little too much of that. A few more towns and houses scattered around, and just, you know, people, some life scattered around, I think would have been nice. That's really all I have to say about the map. Other than that, it works, you know? There's a lot of, like, cool towns and stuff that you can go to, but there could be a little bit more. It's a little empty, but they do like have like, there's like the side quests, the stranger missions as they're called. It's the side quests in this game. They are pretty well scattered around, so you can just find like a stranger mission in the middle of nowhere. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, what else is there to talk about? So I got story. By the way, it is pretty good. It is quite good. I'm gonna talk about more specifics later, but I will say it starts off very slow, but it does pick up, like, it does pick up. That's all I'm going to say. It picks up at some point. Yeah, but it does start off kind of slow, but it's really good. Really good story, I'd say. Story wise, I'd give it like a nowhere near as good as the second game. The second game is a way better story, but I'd give this story like a based on all video game stories. This is probably like a good 5.8, I'd say. Maybe nah, it gets a 6. It gets a 6. Okay, it's a 5.5, but the characters are like a 6.5, if that makes sense. So it kind of like rounds off to a 6 when you combine the two, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think it does. Like, it's not the most amazing story, but it's good. It's good enough, you know. And the characters are just really cool. And yeah, you like start to like like grow attached to them pretty easily. I'd say they do a good job at that, making them feel human. Although I will say there's a few times throughout the game where John, the character you play as, he just says some like stupid stuff, like he just says stuff that's like doesn't like he'll hear like a person say a bunch of stuff and then he'll just say something like kind of like unrelated, like they'll just like talk about like a bunch of stuff and he'll be like, oh man, or like like something that like it doesn't make sense, or he'll just like say, like he says something I don't know how to describe it really. Let me try to think of like a better example than that. He'll either like not show enough emotion or like compassion towards the person sometimes, like if they just tell him something, or he'll just like kind of like say something like a little like unrelated about. I don't know, like I'm trying to think of an example, but like my mind's kind of fried right now. Give me like 1 second. I'm trying to think. It has happened a lot throughout the story. A little less so towards the end, but I can't think of anything. But if you play it, you might know what I'm talking about. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But yeah, there's some like responses that I feel like could have been better from John that the script writers just could have done a better job. Like some of his responses just make him sound kind of dumb in a way. Yeah, that's about all I have to say there. That's a much better way of putting it instead of sitting there and like thinking for a while about an example. Like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, story good, characters good. Map is not very good. Map is kind of mid, but it's good enough. Horses in this game. The horse system, riding the horse. It's cool. You got it works. You spam the A button like in all other Rockstar games to make it go fast, and then you hold A to retain the speed, and it feels good. Even there's the pathways, there's like roads, and when you're on the road, you go faster, kind of like a car. If it makes sense. But like I don't get like you could be like on the side of a road and like it's still equally as flat and your horse will go like half the speed and then you kind of like edge towards the road a little bit and then you start just like zooming, if that makes sense. But it's a little unrealistic, I feel like. But it works and it feels like really good. You feel really fast when you're on the road. You can get places really quick. So horses are cool. But I feel like there should have been like a better way of like establishing your horse, if that makes sense. Like you just kind of like hitch it to a post, and then once you hitch it to a post, then it's your horse, and that's like all there is. There's no like stable like in the second game, where like you can like customize the saddle and stuff. Now you just hitch it to a post and then you call it and then it comes. That's all there is to it, which I think it works perfectly fine. But it could have been like a little more what's the word, like there's a word for this that my brain isn't really working right now. There's been a little bit more to it. I don't know. Made it feel like more of like a personal like relationship, for the horse, if that makes sense. I'm not really making much sense right now, am I? But yeah, I think you get what I mean. You could have been able to name it. Could have been able to customize like the saddle and stuff. That could have been cool. In the second game, you can also like groom your horse and like change the hair and stuff. That could have been really cool. You can like pet your horse. You can like develop a bond with it, and the better the bond, like the better like it comes to you or something like that. Something happens when you bond with the horse in the second game, and I feel like that could have been in the first game to make your relationship with your horse feel a little more, sentimental. Because like my horse died like pretty far into the game, like probably like a good like 20-25% into the game, and I just didn't care, I was like, okay, I caught a new one and no big deal, versus the second game, my horse got hit by a train when I first played it, and I was mad, man. I was like, oh my, because I forgot the jump button and I was pressing the sprint button because it's A, and A is usually the jump button in games, so I try and jump off the side of a train track to like safety, but I was pressing A instead of X because this game has different controls, and I took a break for a while, but then my horse got hit by the train. It wasn't pretty. Rip Kendrick. But anyway, I think like, you know, that kind of personal relationship. Like I remember that like 4 years later after playing this game. Maybe it's 3 years. I don't know if it's 4 years. It seems like a long time. I think it's more like 3 years actually. Yeah, I think it's been like 3 years, not 4 years. But yeah, I think like I still remember that like perfectly. I remember the exact bridge, the exact point on the bridge. I remember like once I died from being hit by the train, I remember my horse like the ragdoll just went flying at the camera like as it was in like slow motion, you know, like after you die, it kind of goes in like slow motion for a second, and my horse just flew at the camera, and it was sad. And I feel like those kind of moments like not only was it funny, but like it was sad, you know. But like in this game, in the first game, I just like I don't care if my horse dies, you know. I'll get a new one, super easy. You just go and lasso one, and then you shake your joystick around, and then you have a new horse, super easy. Also buying horses doesn't really feel like there's a reason for it at all. I never bought a horse in this game. I didn't feel like I had to. My horse was perfectly fine, and buying a horse is like $750, which is a lot in this game. So I never really bought a horse. I don't know if like that. I don't know if that's something I should have done. I don't know, but I just kind of never felt a need. So that could have been cooler too if they made buying horses better. What else is there to talk about? Side quests. There's a lot of side quests, and they actually like do feel kind of good, you know. Like you do kind of get like a little like invested into them. I feel like they're kind of well written, you know. Like sometimes I'll be like, "Ooh, I gotta do this now." I'm like that poor, like I'll kind of like get like immersed, you know, and I'll be like, "Oh man, I gotta help these people quick, you know, gotta get to them, gotta get them their money back or whatever, you know, or gotta go kill this guy before whatever happens, even though there's no time limit, and I can take all the time in the world. I could come back 2 years later and it would be fine, you know." But yeah, it makes it like I feel like this game does that really well. It gets you immersed, gets you like feeling like into the story, you know, if that makes sense, and like you start to feel like really feel for the characters and like feel for the story like as if it were real life. This game does a really good job at that. Um, Maybe this is just me, but like a lot of games, like Rockstar games, like you can just go out and just like kill anyone you want pretty much, and there's not much of a punishment at all. But this game, like I kind of felt like there's an honor system, so maybe that's why just that little bar at the bottom, like kind of like made me feel this way. But I just kind of like never did that because like, you know, like I've never felt like the need to. This sounds like kind of dumb, but like I think you get what I mean. Like, you know, like I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about, honestly. But it gets you immersed into the characters, and like you feel like feels real, you know, if that makes sense. Feels like your actions have consequences, you know. That's the best way to describe what I'm trying to say. I'm really tired. It's like 1 a.m. and I stayed up finishing the game because I had an epilogue, and I wasn't expecting that. So I was expecting to finish it and go to sleep, but there was an epilogue, so I had to do that, you know. Um, so I can scratch my nose. But yeah. What else did I talk about? Guns. Guns are cool in this game. There's a lot of guns. They don't feel like too different from each other. I don't feel like that could have been something done a little bit better if the guns did feel a little bit different. I'm kind of like nitpicking here, but like, you know, like the Cattleman revolver and like a Schofield revolver, like they kind of feel exactly the same, you know. Like it's one has like a little more range and a little more power or something like that, but like they feel exactly the same. They're both revolvers. They both handle the same way. I feel like. There's also pistols, which are a little bit different. Also, you can't dual wield in this game. Like, why? Like, you walk by so many people dual wielding and stuff, and like a lot of people are dual wielding that you see. Why can't you dual wield like revolvers in this game? Like, that's so cool to be able to do that, and you just can't do that in this game. So that kind of sucks. That's to get some points down on the weapon system scale. I mean, you got pistols, you got repeaters, you got shotguns, you got snipers. You got a lot of good variety. And they all kind of do feel a little bit the same. They kind of like, you know, they kind of each have like their own little feel to them. And like you do pick your favorites throughout the game. I feel like you'll get one gun and you'll use it for a bit, and you'll either be like, oh, I don't want to ever use this again, or you'll be like, this is a good gun and I'm gonna use this like forever, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah, and some guns are just direct upgrades of each other, but you can't like take it out of your inventory. So like you might have like one revolver with all the stats like pretty low, but you might have a revolver that's better in every single stat, which makes it that you're never gonna use the other one, the bad one, right? But you can't take it out of your inventory, so you always have to scroll by it. That's kind of like that's a very, very big nitpick. But if they had a way to take it out, that would be that'd be nice, you know. But that is a very big nitpick, and that is like no points down for that, you know. This is going on for a while, and I feel like I haven't really talked about much. I think like that's the earlier like I can say I talked about guns, talked about horses, the story, the map, the side quests, money in this game. I feel like the second game I feel like they gave you a lot of money, and I feel like I bought everything that I needed to really early on. Like halfway through the game, like monies became like kind of useless to me. You know, this game you can buy properties, which you cannot do in a second game, and I kind of like that. Um, it just gives you like a nice place to like stay and save your game and change your outfit and get ammo from for free. That's pretty cool, and it's another nice thing to spend money on. But guns in this game are pretty expensive, and you unlock them as the story goes instead of having it all at once. So that's kind of nice. You know, you're always like unlocking new stuff and getting excited for new weapons. I like that a lot. And also something in this game, you start off with like, you know, like really like rustic like weapons, you know, like just like a lever action repeater and like it's like a normal revolver and stuff. And then you end the game, like you kind of like progress your weapons, like, you know, like through the era, if that makes sense. Then you end up with like a fully automatic pistol and like a bolt action rifle and like you know, stuff like that. Like your weapons like do progress as you go, like in terms of modernity, is that a word? Modernness. So that's cool. And like I feel like this is a boring review. I'm not really talking about much here. Sorry, I'm kinda tired. But what else are I talking about? I'm looking at I got the Red Dead map on the wall. I feel like I'll remember some stuff if I stare at it for a second. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm gonna have to talk about some spoilers now. So I'm gonna give this game a solid 6.2 out of 7. I know I just said a lot of bad stuff, but the story is really good, and the gun play weapons, you know, I need to sleep. The action in this game, the shooting is really fun and feels really good. Horses feel good. I know I focused a lot on like the bad stuff, but this is a really good game. This has quite a few flaws, but it's such a big game, you know, you can't expect it to be perfect. I feel like, you know, just there's so many different aspects of this game. Not every part can be perfect. Oh, that reminds me, mini games. Mini games are really cool. Yeah, you can do like gambling and stuff like that. Mini games, arm wrestling. There's like the finger fillet thing. The mini games get an A+. Yeah, just wanted to throw it out there. Oh yeah. So anyway, 6.2 out of 7. Very good game. Check it out. It's not too long. It's like taking probably like 15 hours. So definitely not as long as the second one. The second one took me like 40. But yeah. Now I'm gonna talk about some spoilers. So if you don't want those, have a red-tastic day. Views out. Okay, and now if you're still here, spoilers coming. I just want to talk about how much time you spent hunting Bill Williamson, bro. Oh my god, you spend like 70% of the game hunting this guy, and you don't get anywhere. You feel like the guys, they tell you like, oh, you do this for me, and I'll give you something about where he's hiding, you know? And then you do that. And then he's like, oh no, one more thing, let's do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. You do so many chores for the Mexican army, for the sheriff, for the revolutionaries. Like you do all these tasks, and they always promise to tell you stuff, and then you get betrayed like halfway through, like while working for the Mexican army. Like you never like feel like you're progressing at all, and then you finally, like with the sheriff, you finally stand off against Bill, and he escapes to Mexico. Like, you know, and then there's another like 5 hours, 6 hours of missions that you have to play before you actually make any more progress to him. And I think that kind of sucked. Like that really sucked. They could have like held back on that. And I like the stuff about like the Mexican army and like the revolution and stuff like that. That was a fun little like story, you know. And helping the sheriff and Bonnie, that was cool. But it just went on for so long, and I feel like they spent no time on Dutch. I feel like Dutch was like 2 hours of story missions. I met him, I saw him for the first time, and then I saw him for the last time in one sitting. Versus Bill, I probably saw him for the first time and the last time in like 9 or 10 sittings of playing this game, you know? Like, that's just kind of crazy to me. Like, I didn't like that. They should have also focused on Dutch more, and maybe I'm saying that just because I really liked him in the second game, and in the first game, he wasn't really like a big character at all, you know? But like, I really liked Dutch from the second game, so I guess I have some bias there. But either way, I feel like they still should have focused on the gang leader more than they should have focused on just some random member, you know? That they never like developed the character of or anything, you know? He just was kind of there, and he was just kind of a target that you never actually saw, that you saw like once every like 25 missions. But anyway. Yeah, sorry. Just had to rant about that a little bit. And then one more thing I have to rant about. The ending. I don't know if I liked it. It kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't know whether or not to appreciate that. and like say that it was cool, you know, because I do kind of appreciate that you did a bunch of missions, you know, you were shooting the crows away from your silo, you were hunting bears and stuff with your son, you were breaking horses with uncle, you know, like I like, and then just out of nowhere the army comes and kills you, you know. I kind of respect that they made like such a sudden, like, you know, like I feel like that's how it would happen in real life, you know. It wouldn't like, you know, I think that makes sense. Like that's how it happened in real life. They'd come for you, they'd kill you, that's it, you know. And I thought that was really cool and realistic. But there was a few things I did not like. One, John peeked through the door. He saw like 25 men out there. And then he decided to push his way out and thinking he could kill them all. Like, why? He's not that dumb. I feel like he has some logic. Like, why did he do that? And then even if he did want to fight them, there was like a window that he could have climbed to that would have gave him like perfect cover, and he could have like slowly, like he could like throw dynamite into the crowd or something. There's so much he could have done, I feel like, to fight them off. And he did like the worst possible thing. He kicked down the door with his revolver. Like what? Like why? Like why'd he do that, man? Like he was just asking to die. He could have like tried to sneak around back and like pick a few of them off, you know. But no, he just busted out the door with all of them pointing guns right at him. Like why? Why did he do that? And then after he dies, it's like 2 minutes of like cutscenes. And like a bunch of years pass. I don't know how many years, but Jack becomes an adult, you know, Abigail's dead now. Huge time skip. And then it just throws you right back into the game, except you're Jack now, like, you know. Like that was kind of like really like they should have focused, like your main character that you've been with the whole game just died, you know, but they moved on so quick from that. He's got gunned down, they came, they cried, like, oh, they buried him, and that was it, you know. Then time skip, you know, there was no like credits or anything. I feel like it was something I thought, I'm not gonna say that, never mind. Never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, so that's just like, I don't like that at all. I did not appreciate that. I think they should have like spent some more time on the fact that your main character just died, you know? Like come on, man. It was like 2 minutes. It was like 2 minutes after he died that you were playing, you know? Like, come on. They could have made it like a little more sad, a little more emotional. But they really like didn't at all. He just got gunned down. And then like Agent Ross was like, haha, and like smoked a cigarette. And then like, you know, like it was just kinda goofy. And also the way he busted up a door, I hate that so much. Like, why did he do that? So yeah, just wanted to rant about the ending. Did not like that. And then like the little epilogue where you hunt down Agent Ross as Jack, it just felt kind of like dull, you know? And like, it like took a few minutes to beat, you know? It wasn't like really like that good of an ending. And I do kind of like how you had a duel with him at the end, but I think it would have been a lot cooler if he just pulled up and was like, I'm Jack Marston. Remember me? Then I shot him, you know? Like instead he was like, I'm here to kill you. When the other guy, when Agent Ross was holding a gun, he was holding a gun and like kind of pointing it at Jack as Jack was talking about how he was how he was here to kill him. Like why? That was so dumb. And I feel like Agent Ross could have just shot him right then and there if he wanted to. I'm sorry, but the ending, the last like hour of this game was kind of unrealistic. Maybe not hour, like half an hour. Like from the last mission to the epilogue, to the ending, to the credits, was kind of goofy. Just want to say that. But I do think it was really bold how it just killed the main character. I knew coming into this game that he did die. That wasn't like a surprise for me. But I feel like if it was, that would have been really cool, you know? Like just out of nowhere, your main character dies, you know? That would have been really cool if I didn't know that. But like I knew what was happening, like right when what's his name? The uncle was like, we got company, and he was like looking at a spyglass and stuff. I knew what was coming up. I knew it. Yeah, that's the end of the game. It's coming up. It's now, because I saw like a video of like all the guys like around the gate. I never like actually saw him die before this game, but like I saw like them circling the stable, so I kind of knew what to expect, and that kind of did ruin it for me, I will say. But if you didn't know that, I will say that that actually would be like really cool, because you just would not be expecting that, I feel like. But yeah, anyway, that's it. That was like 10 minutes of ranting. Man, my nose is so itchy. These allergies, man. I swear to God. But yeah, like I said earlier, have a red-tastic day. This game, really good. But that ending, man, that ending and how much time they spent on Bill Williamson, that pisses me off. That pisses me off so much. Like, why? Like, why'd they have to do that? And also the map. That map kind of sucks. But anyway, that's about it. Every other aspect of the game, pretty much perfect. Yeah, good game, very good game, and it's like a top 20, I'd say. Very good. Yeah. And it's kind of high, top 20, top 25 at least, maybe top 20. Definitely not top 15 or top 10. Anyway, I was spending too much time on this. S tier game, 6.2. Yeah, very good. Have a good day. Have a redtastic day. Abuse out for real.